YouTube, you are you, and I am. In this one, we're going to be looking at Reason. We're going to be looking behind the rack, and we're going to be breaking it down and looking at some advanced routing stuff that'll have you making the Reason rack your... Actually, I'm just going to make a video on some advanced routing in Reason. A lot of you probably, especially some of you newbies, have opened the rack in Reason, flipped it around by hitting tab, and thought, what is going on back here? Well, I'm here to shed a little bit of light on that for you. So, let's get into it. Okay, so before we get started with me showing you some routing, let me show you this. This is a vocal here that I downloaded from Splice. Here, make sure everything's bypassed. This is a rack that I made. I'm going to actually, excuse me, I'm going to actually go over this and show you guys how to make something like this. This is a delay that I made that I'm actually going to make available actually for download. I'll put a link in the descriptions, in the description if you guys want to download this. It's a really cool and really usable delay. It's a delay that has it filters the delay taps. It also ducks the delay taps out of the way of the source. It's an advanced delay. You could kind of compare it to like H delay or something like that if you're familiar with the Waves plugins. But it's all using built-in Reason stuff, and that kind of brings me to my first point about why you'd want to learn how to route in Reason. The reason, ha 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 ha, that's so stupid. The reason you would want to learn that is so that you can make racks like this. I remember when the Combinator came out, maybe around Reason 3, when they introduced the Combinator, and it kind of took all these little, seemingly kind of unusable little modules and made them able to be combined and packaged. I mean, you could combine them before. You could kind of make a chain, make a signal chain, but never before could you kind of package them like this. Not that the Combinator is the end all be all, but it definitely certainly opened my mind to the idea of, oh, well, if you stack two delays, you have a stereo delay. Okay, wait a minute. If you route them together, and then route them with other things behind them, oh, now you have a stereo delay. You could maybe put two more delays to make a stereo multi-tap delay. Okay, wait a second. Oh, these are just modules. They're not meant to really stand alone. These little guys right here. And, this guy right here. So once you can kind of get that through your head and kind of get that concept, then Reason, it makes sense why Reason originally, if you're familiar with what it used to look like, it kind of didn't ship with much more than what you're seeing in this box here. It was mostly about, and it shipped with the instruments too, but what I mean is effects wise, it didn't ship with much more than what's in this box right here. So it didn't look full featured, but it's not until if you're making if you're buying a modular synth, each module is kind of worthless on its own. It's the sum of the parts that makes the beast. Anyway, okay, so here's the waxed on that one. Okay, here's the vocal.
Wasted hearts, wasted hearts.
Really cool vocal. I like her voice. Anyway, so if you added this delay, it's not just like adding in one of these little delay lines or even adding in the echo, although this is similar to the echo, but a little bit better and a little bit more. You can spice it up a little bit more. Anyway, so here's it with the delays that I hit. Unbypass? No, I did not. Okay.
Wasted hearts, wasted hearts.
So you can hear it's a stereo delay. There are, if I go over this, here, I'll just go over how this works. Actually, this is a tutorial on how to route, so we're going to route one of our own. So I'm going to get rid of this one. And we're going to do it right here in the insert so that we kind of do it piece by piece and get our heads around what's really going on here. Okay, so this brings us to our tools. Yeah. Our tools. The number 1 and number 2 tool I use when routing Something complicated are these two tools. The, what is this called? The line mixer, the 6x2 line mixer, and the Spider audio merger and splitter. To demystify this guy for you, because I remember I used to look at this guy and go, what is this? This is the side that merges signals. So you have signal 1, signal 2, signal 3, signal 4, and they all go into one. And then this is the side that splits signals. So you have one signal, you go into one signal, and it comes out as 4. That's all you need to know. And then this is just a mixer in the traditional sense, with no crossfader, obviously, and no effects or no nothing. It's just, a mixer, a little mixer, with one send and return, one effects loop. Okay, so I use these a lot. And the reason I use the mixer is I use it because you can, at the track level, you can do what's called parallel processing. That is to say, you can take the original signal, which is coming out of the track here. You could send even the direct out if you wanted to an audio in here. And that's just the signal. But if you were to, sorry, I did that in the wrong order. What you could do here is you could actually split the signal coming out. We'll use the insert signal. Split it coming out, and then have a bunch of different parallel versions of it. So here we just have 4 copies of the same thing, but that's not what we want. What we want to do is first get a signal going. We're going to use this as an insert. Get a signal going out to the splitter. We'll call this is going to be clean. You'll see why it actually names, you see it names it here based on what you wrote here. It's kind of weird, and they're not really independent, so I don't know. That's a weird quirk, but anyway, I'm not sure if that's different in Reason 10. This is Reason 9, by the way, but it doesn't, Reason 9.5, by the way. But anything that you learn about the routing will be the same. It's always been the same in Reason, which is why Reason has quietly been the more powerful of the DAWs early on. When the Combinator came out, nobody was able to, nobody was not using a basic send return structure to do parallel processing or busing structure. Anyway, so so now we have our clean signal, and the first thing we want to do is treat our write signal. So because we're making a delay, we're making a copy of that delay that we were using earlier, in order to learn how I routed it and how routing works. Okay, just to reset. Okay, so we're going to treat the left side first, and we're going to take this delay line, this silly little thing, and we're going to start here. We're actually going to end up needing 2 of these, so I'm going to hold Alt and drag a second one over. It doesn't route itself. These guys never route themselves because they know by the time you're pulling one up, you're going to do some routing. The other thing, just in case you're super noob, it's tab, the tab key above the caps lock key to flip between the front and the back of the rack. Okay, we're moving forward. So coming out, we need another duplicate copy to go into the reverb. Or not into the reverb, I'm sorry, the delay. This is your left delay. Let's call it that. Delay left. Cool. Then we want the signal to get EQ'd in some way. I'm actually going to use the pulverizer as an EQ. You'll see why, because it has a filter in it. So it's going to get filtered in some way. Then what do we want? That's it. Let's just make a simple delay, simple stereo delay. We'll get more advanced as we go. So that's the left ear, delay left. It goes, and you can hit the letter K, by the way, on your keyboard to kind of clean up the cables. That didn't do much there because there's not much else on the screen. But as I click on things, you'll see the cables. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. I had pancakes for breakfast, a little indigestion. So you see the cables coming in and out. But anyway, so that's the left ear. We can actually call this delay left as well. And now we want to treat the right ear. So we need another delay line. I'll hold shift, by the way, so that this doesn't auto route because I don't want it to. This is the sort of thing that would try to auto route. It'd probably try to like route to the send return here. Let's find out. Would it? No, it actually tried to route to that. Yeah, because it's the next in the chain. That makes sense. Anyway, we don't want that. We want it to not route, so hold shift. Cool. Now here we're going to make a copy. Take a copy. Go through here. We're going to need another pulverizer. I'm just going to hold Alt and drag that one down. It's not going to auto route because of the way I made it. This is going to be delay, right? This will be also delay, right? Cool. This output is going into this input to get filtered. And then this is going into the mixer. Now the mixer, don't forget this step because I always forget this step. This mixer is really what's running the show. This is everything's being routed through it, so don't forget it needs to get routed into the actual channel. Okay, so what we have here is a stereo delay. We have our signal going out to the splitter splitting it out to the mixer and also out to the delay lines, which then have their own chains underneath, and then back up to the left and right delay lines. See what I did there? Pan those? Okay. So let's play the vocal and let's fade our delays in. Let's see, do we want, on a vocal, I'd kind of go for like a 4/8 thing. Those are 16th notes, by the way, in Reason. Each step is a 16th, so 4/16 is a quarter. Is that right? Yeah, I did it. So you get it. Anyway.
Wasted high.
I'm going to fade some delays in.
Wasted high.
Real quick, in the pulverizer, when it auto loads, it always auto loads with some peak. I don't know why. Turn that down. I don't want that. All I'm using in the pulverizer, by the way, is just this area, the filter. I might add some dirt. Who knows? But just so you know, this is what we're focused on, because for some reason, Reason does not have like a bandpass filter built in. You could get a rack extension for like $20, by the way. That's just a dope filter. I would kind of recommend that because it comes up a lot, and Reason doesn't have one that's just reach for a quick filter situation. Although there's VSTs now, so you probably have like probably have a bunch of them. But just beware, or just not beware, but be aware of the fact that there's one here that you can always reach for, and don't. Then that also once again speaks to the modularity, the how modular Reason is, that you can just forget about the rest of this pulverizer because I'm just using the filter right now, because you can just route straight to it. Bam, bam. I got a filter. So just think about it that way. Nothing is really just the thing it is. Okay, so here we go. So let's try to get this. Let's see what this sounds like.
Wasted highs. Wasted highs.
Okay, so we have just the left ones coming in.
Wasted highs. Wasted highs.
So already we've run into why this. We've already run into one of the reasons why you want to go more advanced with your delays in the first place. As she's singing, her delays, which sound cool, are the too full frequency. They're getting in the way. They're stamping all over her. So that's why we wanted to add these filters. That's the first thing you reach for to try to alleviate this problem. It's not the only thing, but it's a big thing to reach for to try to help fix this problem. So we're going to go to bandpass. Bandpass. This is like a routing and mixing tutorial. Heyo. Okay, so we'll take this out.
Wasted highs.
Okay, so we can see. Let's do some filtering here.
Wasted highs.
You're listening to the delays in the left ear. You're listening for them to get darker.
Wasted highs. Wasted highs.
Cool. So now they're like Now they're more in the background. Let's do the same treatment on the right delays.
Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts.
I was in the zone there. Okay, so you get the idea. So as you can see, the signal's going through each delay, and then it's getting filtered. So you can get more advanced than this, and we are going to, by taking the signal. Now, the next thing that I would do in order to make the delays sit better is to make it so that they get out of the way of the original signal. So for that, we're going to use compression. So we're going to make this twice. Oops. Let me hit tab. I didn't hold shift, so it actually auto-routed. Let me command Z to get rid of that. Pull in 2 of these. Hold shift. Okay, so now we need a clean signal, the original signal, to be going in to the sidechain inputs of these compressors. So we have left, sidechain in. We'll call this. And we'll call this. Cool. And then this is actually why we needed the second one. I ran out of spots, but in order to make another one, just keep the daisy chain going. Boom, split it again. So now this one goes to the sidechain in. This one goes to the other sidechain in. Now what does that mean? Well, we already know what these splitters, mergers and splitters do. So we're sending an unaltered, struggled through that one, an unaltered version of the signal to the compressor. The compressor is going to listen to that signal, and it'll use that signal as a trigger to react. So what does that mean? It means it's going to listen for the vocal, and when the vocals come in, it's going to react by turning down whatever its signal is. And its signal, the signal that's coming into it, is nothing. So we need to change that. So we need to go out from the pulverizers. Instead, we're patching this into the chain that was already created. So we're just adding a link to the chain. We're going in, this is delay R, so wrong one. Was that in the wrong spot the whole time? No. Oh, that was going to there. Here. Silly me. Okay. So we're going out from delay R into delay R. Which is here. And then we do the same for delay L. Just to unplug those. Delay L in, delay L out. Cool. So if you look, when we hit play,
Wasted heart.
we're getting some attenuation here, some gain reduction. It's
Wasted
turning it down.
heart.
We're getting some from the compression here. So let's change these settings. We'll make it listen a little when we turn down the threshold. The way I see it is it's listening harder. It's turning down the level by which the compressor will act. I'm not going to go too deep into compressors. You'll hear a lot of compressor talk along your journey, learning how to produce music. So these concepts will come to you. This is just another look at what it can do. So
Wasted heart.
I'm going to just do one of the channels so you can kind of focus in on your left ear.
Wasted heart.
So what you're listening for, when she sings, the delays will almost be gone. They'll disappear. They'll dip below, they're listening for the lead vocal and then dipping below it in volume. And then when the vocal disappears, the compressor stops compressing and lets the full delays back in. So it's kind of got two effects there. One, keeping the mix clear by getting the clutter that is the delays out of the way when she's singing. 2, it also creates movement by having the delays kind of dance with her a little bit. They move out of the way when she comes in, and she moves out of the way when they come in. And you can control how quickly they come in by controlling this release knob. Pro tip, I like to try to give it a musical value. So maybe quarter notes or eighth notes or something like that. In order to do that, this is like a little bonus tip. Just take 60,000 and divide it by the BPM. Put it over the BPM, which is where? Right here. Boop, 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 boop. 150. So that's quarter notes in milliseconds. 400 milliseconds equals 1 quarter note. I think an eighth note coming in on an eighth note would be cool. So that's 200 milliseconds. I could have done that in my head, but I just didn't. So let's see what that sounds like. We were already close to quarter notes. That's kind of why I just kind of did that by ear. But let's see what faster sounds like. 200-ish.
Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts.
So as you can see, as you can hear,
Wasted hearts.
they're coming in right away.
Wasted.
Kind of like the twice as long version or something. Sure.
Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts.
Cool. So that sounds really good. So that's a cool delay. Now, the cool thing now that you kind of see that you can just patch things behind things, patch things into the chain link, if you will, the signal chain. Let's say you wanted to get fancier and you wanted to add a reverb to each delay. So all the delay taps are not just delaying, but they're also kind of fading into the background even more by adding reverb. You could do that just easily, just by adding it here, making a copy of it, and then just patching it in wherever you feel like it. So I want the delays to be reverbed. So if we take this, we're just going to keep calling them the same thing. Then I could just go, instead of going from the outputs here, you could just move these to here. And then go here. Do the same here. Boom, now you've added delay to the chain. I'm sorry, reverb to the chain.
Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts.
It's easier to hear it. It's always easier for me to hear it in one, because you can only affect one at once. So it's just easy to hear what it's doing.
Wasted hearts.
Do my knob fiddling and then go back and do the same to the other. But you don't have to do the exact same to the other. That's the other advantage of having them separate like this. You could bit crush one side and not bit crush the other. Do a lot of different things to cause more separation, which would also cause more width, more character. You can really get crazy with each side, and really get in there. Talking in circles. Anyway.
Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts.
Without it.
Wasted hearts.
With it.
Wasted hearts.
Now they got a spacier, dreamier quality.
Hearts.
Let's just copy this setting.
Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts. Wasted hearts.
So you get the idea. Another thing to show you really quickly while we're here, I just want to think of, is routing is also, this type of routing is also the way you can get things done like sidechain compression. So imagine this track instead has your kick on it instead of a vocal. you could use the parallel out. So that way you keep your channel clean and keep your insert effects available. So you could affect, this would be the kick in that case. That's not how you spell that. Use the parallel out to the spider, to as many spiders as you want, right? And then those spiders go out to the sidechain in of your compressors on your individual channels, your synth channel, your bass channel, your whatever. You use this, route it just the same way, and then instead of going, back to itself, you go, out from this sidechain out to another channel, or not there. Out from here, another copy of the kick in this case, out to another channel's sidechain input, and then that's how you attenuate or sidechain for that pumping effect that we all know and love. So that's another way to use it. That's another thing to think about. Just anytime you need another copy of your signal, think about the Spider audio merger and splitter. Anytime you need another copy of CV, there's CV routing options. Actually, did I want to show you? No, we'll get to that another time. But here, so just so you can see, this video is getting kind of long, just so you can see, what it all looks like when it's done together. What we just made, actually. I put it all together actually in this Combinator, and the cool thing that I added with the Combinator here, let's get rid of these. Delete. Get rid of this. Just the channel, or just the mix channel. Flip this over, route it up real quick. Route it up as an insert. Oops. Show devices, not programmer. This goes in here. Cool. And then this mixer comes back out to the insert. Boom. Let's get some.
Wasted highs. Wasted highs.
So the first thing that's cool about this package is I set up the macros. These macro knobs here. So this is your right volume. And if you look, you can actually see it turn the knob. Well, actually, which knob does it turn? Oh, it must turn the polarizer master up. Yeah. So this right here is attached to that. And then the tone is attached to the filter frequency. You can see that. It's a bandpass filter, just like we did before. The same, but on the right side is true here. And to show you how I routed those, you show the programmer. These are each called rotaries, I believe. So I wanted to affect, you cannot affect, by the way, just random, but the line mixers here. Oh, you can. I don't know why I didn't, but okay. I could have set this up so that rotary 2 here is being affected. Rotary 2 here is affecting this level here on the line mixer. Wow, I am struggling through explaining this to you. But here's how I actually have it set up. I actually have it set up so that filter L, rotary 1, that's this, affects the volume of filter L. I name this filter L. This is the volume. If you see it, that's how it's set up. So you click here. So if I wanted to affect something on the reverb with one of these, if I wanted to map something on a knob or a button on the reverb to one of these, that's how I would do that. But in this case, it's filter L because I named it that. And then I chose rotary 1 and rotary 2, one controlling the volume, one controlling the filter frequency. Just so you, when you get there, you know kind of where it is and what you're doing to set up rotaries. And to set up, macros and to set up these macro buttons as well, which I'm not using. So there you have it. That's a very solid intro into kind of more advanced routing techniques in Reason. These hold true in Reason 10. I'm in Reason 9.5, but Reason has always worked like Reason, and pretty much probably always will. There might be some minor differences, but any of the routing stuff, you know, just the theory of it will be the same. This delay, this pre-made version of the delay, I have available for you if you want to just download it, or if you want to, you know, I'm sure you followed it. I'm hoping that you followed along with me. But if you want to see, you know, maybe you didn't get a chance to route these, or you want to see how I did it, or just download it, you can download it for free. I will put a link to it in the description of this video. You just pop over to my website and download it, and it's yours. Yeah, if you like this kind of content and you found this helpful, please consider subscribing and throw a like down there. I need all the love I can get. Yeah, and thank you so much for watching.